I request Father Kevin Ward to come to the stage, and also Father Caleb. Father Kevin Ward will be introduced by Father Caleb, but I would like to say something which Father Caleb may not know. In 2011, when we had the centenary of Ribohoi Diocese, so we produced one documentary, and then we thought of producing as a film. Then we were searching for main characters to represent Father Bendrami and Father Monsignor Christopher Becker. We thought of calling Brother Valerie and Brother Colombi, but they acted in so many dramas, so people know. But then I invited Father Kevin, that time Brother Kevin, Kevin Ward. Father acted so well that they really thought that we brought a foreign actor. And when I showed my foreign friends, they said, this can be sent for even the Oscar award. That time, Father was a brother. And I think you will got inspired from that one. No. And then afterwards, he became a priest of the Diocese of Nong Stoin. Father Caleb, the moderator of today, was ordained in 2005. For a long time, he was director of seminary in Aisol Diocese. Then now he's a parish priest, Father of St. Mary's, Aisol. And also he did his MA in psychology from Manila, Philippines. So we are glad that we are here on the stage to moderate this session. So now I invite you, Father, to begin the session.
Thank you, dear Father. Welcome one and all for this second session with the theme, Look Forward with Hope. And our resource person is Father Kevin Ward. So let us all look forward for this input session. Father Kevin Ward, belonging to the Diocese of Nong Stoin. He is Irish by birth, Indian by adoption, a teacher by profession, a Kasi by choice, a diocesan priest by vocation, and he is happy to be with us today to speak about the vision that gives us hope. He was a Christian brother before becoming a priest, and he personally has undertaken this journey as a pilgrim of hope. And we look forward for this input session. And after this input session, there will be lunch, hopefully at the right time. So please look forward with hope, true, that also. So I welcome on behalf of all the gathering, our resource person for this session, Father Kevin Ward. With a round of applause, let us welcome Father Kevin. Father Kevin, the time begins. Thank you.
Your graces, your lordships, and my brother priests. It is an honor, a privilege, and a blessing combined for me to be with you. My virtual friend, Father Timothy Radcliffe, he was at a program once, and one of his Dominican brothers was doing a lecture, and when he sat down, the applause was mild or zero. And he turned to his friend after sitting down, he said, "Was I that bad?" And the guy beside him, the moderator, he said, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I blame the people who called you. A blessing for dear Father Tabor. Our coming together at this moment is part of the unfolding days that you come together as brothers, as priests, as pastors, as pilgrims on a very, very lovely journey. And my contribution will be to invite you to do what pilgrims do. Pilgrims are not taking part in a race. There's no prize. There's a looking forward to the destination, which is some place of sacredness or holiness. And they move forward, they walk or they travel as becomes the moment with hope that they're going to experience on the way the fellowship of pilgrims, and at the end of the journey, a hope coming true. I'm not an academic, I'm a teacher. And so I want to begin in a place where I may have walked with some of you before in sharing a story which means a lot, carries a lot of wisdom. Jesus did a lot of his teaching through stories. So we cannot go wrong if we enter into the mystery of what a story may be telling us. The story that I want to bring back to some minds and tell for the first time to others is about this gentleman on the screen whom you can recognize from his dress, from his headgear, that he was a big chief in a tribe of Indians, not our Indians, the Red Indians of the place we now call North America. And he was there with his tribe on the rain shadow side of the great mountains that we call the Rockies. For them, they were the mountains simply of their ancestors. But this big chief, a good man, a good leader of a good tribe, he had a problem. A simple problem, his age. He was old and he was not well. And he was conscious in his heart that he had a sacred duty to his people. He must choose from among his sons who is going to succeed him. He had 3 sons, and all of them were the finest fellows. He didn't have to pick the elder or the junior or the middle. He had to pick anyone that he felt could take his place. But they were all good boys, so he didn't know whom to pick. And he thought of a little game by which he would be guided by the spirit of his ancestors, and then he would pick wisely. So he called his boys to his sick room and he said, "My sons, this is my problem." And they understood. And he said, "Tomorrow, I'm giving you a permission I rarely give. Permission to climb the sacred mountain of our ancestors. Look left, look right, look in front, until you find something beautiful. And bring it back to me, and then I will choose from among you who will be my successor." So next morning, with a mixture of excitement, because they got permission to climb the mountain, and sadness because their papa was speaking about dying. But they set out, each boy going his own way. One boy chose a small path that went up the sacred mountain beside a stream which trickled down. And suddenly in the morning sunlight, he came to a pool of water, crystal clear and very lovely. And inside in the pool, like in our Khasi Hills or any hills, there was a collection of stones, polished by years of flowing water, smooth and round, all of them lovely. But in among them, there was one which caught his eye. It was very lovely. Greyish sandstone with reddish rings on it. And he took it up reverently, ran home, took a plate from the kitchen, and he went into his father's sick room. And the old man heard him. "My son, you've come. Tell me, my boy, what did you bring?" And the boy presented what he had brought. He said, "Papa, I brought this very lovely stone." And the old man looked at it with his squinting eyes, weakened by age. He said, "Yes, my son, it's lovely. Where did you get it?" "In a stream on our sacred mountain." "Good. You put it there on the window and let us wait for your brothers." Another boy, meanwhile, he decided to creep up in the undergrowth, half crawling, half bending, until he came to a green field on the side of the hill, a level area, and it was a mass of lovely flowers. And he looked at them, he said, "Wow, so beautiful. Nobody ever sees them, but there they were in their loveliness." And he decided, "I will pick one and take it home." And then he said, "If I pick, it will die on the way home. I won't pluck it. I will take the whole plant." So he dug his fingers into the mossy soil, clay and roots and grass and everything. He took the whole plant and he went home, and there was the same old man waiting. "My son, you've come. Tell me, my boy, what did you bring?" And he said, "Papa, I brought this lovely flower." "Where did you get it, my boy?" "On the sacred mountain of our ancestors." "Yes, it's lovely. Put it with your brother's stone and let us wait." The third boy, meanwhile, he decided to climb almost the way a goat would, from those big black boulders that we have in West Khasi Hills. Up he went from boulder to boulder, looking left, looking right, finding nothing, going higher and higher and higher, until he was suddenly at the top, where the souls of his ancestors hovered. And he bowed his head, partly because he was tired and sweating, partly because he was disappointed not having found anything beautiful, and partly because he knew he was in a sacred area, the home of his departed ancestors. And then, out of nowhere, a gush of wind came up from the other side, from the rain side, damp and fresh. And he did what any one of us would do. He lifted his head and he stretched his arms to enjoy the beauty of the fresh air. And as he did and opened his eyes, he saw, for the first time in his tribe, the other side of the mountain. Trees, rivers, lakes, grass, flowers, vegetation. And he said to himself, my Lord, if only our people could live there. If only our tribe could start again and move to the other side of the great mountain. And he was so excited with what he saw, he turned on his heel and like a goat again, down he leaped from boulder to boulder until he was panting in his father's room. My son, so long we have been waiting. Tell me, my boy, what did you bring back? And he said, Papa, I brought nothing. Nothing? Don't you want to be big chief after me? And the boy said, no, Papa, it doesn't matter now. But whichever of my two brothers you choose to be your successor, tell him before you die to lead our people to the other side of the great mountain. There is a future for us there. And he described everything that he had seen. And then there was silence. And finally, the old man shook his head and he said, no, I will not ask either of your brothers to do this sacred duty. I will ask you. You have been caught by what you saw. You are the one to lead our people there. And the other two boys said, yes, correct, and we will help you. And the old man concluded, your brothers brought back a lovely stone, see? A lovely flower, see? But you, without even realizing it, you have come back to us with a lovely vision. And that's the key word, which I would like to pull out of the story, because you and I and all of us, together with our people, we are driven or we are pulled forward, whichever way you look at it, by a vision. And at a moment like this, in the company of our brother dreamers, our brother visionaries, it's good for us just to put our finger on what it is that gets us out of bed in the morning, gets us among the people, gets us to do the things we do in our pastoral role. What is it that either pulls us or drives us? The verb doesn't matter, but we have something inside in us which is drawing us forward. And it's not fear. Fear doesn't give visions. Fear destroys them. There's something exciting, something sacred, something, I would say divine, which is pulling us on and on that journey. You can call the attraction hope, if you wish. What name we give it doesn't really matter, but there's something pulling us. Not only us, everybody in the world is pulled in one way or another. What makes us special is the nature of what pulls us. There's something divine about it. Other people get pulled by wealth or power or pleasure. They climb the hill looking for the ultimate experience of what it means to possess either wealth or power or pleasure or whatever it may be, even honor. Many people climb that hill and they struggle to get to the top. And then they eventually get there, and maybe suddenly it might hit them. My God, after all the struggle to get to the peak, they suddenly realize, this is not the peak I really need to reach. You and I are climbing, and we know the difference between the peaks. We know what pulls us to the top is that paradox of suffering. Power, no. Wealth, no. Pleasure, no. But a meaning to our journey. Or to put it simply, a certain paradoxical hope that gets me on my journey and gets me with my brother priests to the peak of where I'm going. It's the vision again, hope which pulls me onwards and upwards. And because it's not a race, I never go alone. My arms are open wide and I'm pulling the people with me. Because nobody at the peak is going to say, here is your prize, you came first. There's nobody in Lourdes or Fatima or Rome or Santiago de Compostela holding out a prize for the first person coming in. There are no prizes. The prize is getting there, and it's available to everyone. It's the vision. I'm back again at that word. Father Thomas spoke about it a number of times this morning. That vision which grips me and gives meaning to my life and hope to my heart. It's not new for us in the 21st century. It runs through all the centuries. Christ was driven by a hope. He called it desire. With desire, I have desired to sit with you at the feast. Where did Christ learn it? From his ancestors in the Old Testament. Go right back to Habakkuk. He talked about the vision which is unfolding. Get it in your mind. Make it clear. Write it down. Learn to master it and understand its nuances, because it's going to come true. And if you dream it firmly, it will happen. In its time, it's not your business to deal with the when. You be happy with the what. What pulls you onwards and upwards? What pulled our ancestors, Habakkuk among them, what pulled Jesus onwards and upwards was a kingdom vision that he was determined to share. Sometimes the evangelicals would say that Jesus came to die. I don't believe any human being ever comes into the world to die. They come to live. Even a soldier going to battle doesn't go to die. He goes to live. And if he dies, he is ready, but that's not his goal. I don't think Jesus came to die. I think he came to live and to share his vision with us so that we in our turn would be able to be gripped and grabbed by what he painted as a vision. When he was telling the world his agenda, his manifesto in Luke 4, he said, the Spirit is driving me. He wasn't being original. He was quoting from Isaiah 61. But he was original in that he twisted a little bit one of the things that Isaiah said. There were 5, and Jesus also said 5 things. But one he twisted, and the one he twisted was when he said, I have come because the Spirit has sent me to give new sight to to people who are blind. I want to share my dream, my vision. That's all. And we, as sharers in the vision, as people who have been given this new sight on our pilgrimage, a new way of looking. Looking forward is one of the ways. It's a kingdom vision which is pulling us forward, a vision of hope. Pope Francis said, look back with gratitude, we've done it. Look around with passion, we do it. Look forward with hope, we are doing it. It's hope which pulls us forward. And as long as we have hope and vision, they go together, two sides of a coin, we're okay. Our decisions among the people in our parishes, in our institutions, will all be wise and kingdom-oriented. The problem is when I allow my sight to fall, my vision to be clouded. Even Mother Church has made mistakes in history. And her mistakes, every one of them, can be traced to a dimming of the vision, a failure in hope, or a substitution of something which is worldly instead of a kingdom. Our Inquisition, yes, there were mistakes. Our Crusades, yes, there were mistakes. Things we said about other denominations, even in our time. Mistakes. And all because we have a slightly myopic way of looking. Our ancestors in the early church were not called Christian, they were called people of the way, or simply the way. And what was their way? Their way was the way that Jesus taught them. Their way of looking was his way. Their way of relating was his way. Their way of dealing with weakness and failures was his way. There's something strange about being on a way or on a pilgrimage or on a journey, because everything about our history is about movement. Movement. And when there's a little measure of blindness, like in our apostles, in the disciples, they were apprehensive because being a little bit clever, they could see that Jesus' way is fraught with danger. His kingdom vision was not of this world. It was leading people into a new way of relating. Not up there in heaven. Heaven for Jesus was not up there then. Heaven is down here now. And we are the ones who are meant to share that vision, that way of looking forward, full of hope, because God is in charge. Our weakness will not block us, because God's strength is greater than our weakness. And God's weakness is even greater than our strength, so-called. We're going before, because our arms are out to lead people onward. The first question maybe in heaven would be not, oh, you've come. The question will be, whom did you bring with you? Our sheep, our lambs. As we go forward, we cannot be alone. We have to go forward together. It's a pilgrimage, it's not a race. I've said that twice. It's a journey. You will have noticed in your studies that when God ever wants to organize an epiphany, a confrontation with people, an entry into their journey. God does it just like that. When they're on a journey, more often than not, those who have had a God experience have had it when they were on a journey. Your studies, your memories, your reading will bring the great names back to your mind of those people who were on a journey. And they suddenly, when they least expected and probably least deserved it, God was suddenly there. They had an experience that they weren't prepared for and they couldn't properly describe because it was transcendental. It was epiphany, all of them. There's something about these journeys on which our great ancestors had their God experience. There's a common thread running through them. It stands out very clearly in Jacob. Jacob, you'll remember, was involved in 3 great journeys, but probably the one which we find easiest to remember is the one in Genesis 28, when he was going away from home, as we have all done when we set out on a journey to some seminary, some place of formation. And Jacob's journey, when you read the whole thing, you can put your book down and say, wow, what a God experience. And the one in Genesis 28 is particularly gripping. But you can look at any one of the God experiences through the same lens or triple lens. What happened before, what happened during, and what happened after. Because anyone who has had that transformative experience is changed. And people will say, you're not the way you used to be. What happened to you? This is not the old you that we remember. What happened? Let's look quickly, because you know it by heart. Let's look quickly, simply to bring back to mind what happened to Jacob when he prepared to go on his journey, before he had his God experience. What was unfolding in his life? Well, like us, he was on a journey. He was moving. He was going from A to B. And like us sometimes, he was scared. He was scared, of course. And he came to a place which was brand new to him, like us when we arrived in the seminary for the first time. Brand new, scary, everything different, so big, so many other people are there, yes. But in his case, there were nobody. He was alone. And to make it worse, it was nighttime. And all he could do, because he had no bedding like we would have, he grabbed a stone from that place, any old stone, and he made it a pillow, and he went to sleep. And then, according to whoever wrote the story afterwards, something happened in his sleep, which is part 2 of the drama of God experience or epiphany. Something happened that he had a dream. That's the language of our ancestors. Was it a dream? I don't know, but maybe it was. Maybe it was a way of talking. It doesn't matter. But what he did see in his dream or his vision or his experience or his awareness, whatever you call it, he said, heaven is not up there and we down here. There's a bond, there's a link, there's a connection, there is accessibility both ways. He called it a ladder. Our Kasi ancestors would call it a sokpit Beneng, but it's the same vision. The same intuition that God is not far away. There is a certain measure of intimacy and closeness which colors my pilgrimage and colors my hope and colors my vision. I'm surrounded by a divine aura. Whether you call it a ladder or Sopit Beneng doesn't matter. What does matter is that God and the angels are suddenly accessible. Not far away, not remote. Right here, right now. So close that he could hear God speaking. In the ear or in the heart, again, it doesn't matter because God has no tongue. So God must speak in another way. So some intuition, some awareness was unfolding in Jacob's heart, and he heard God talking, and talking the way God always talks. Concern, promise, accompaniment. Emmanuel again in the Old Testament. And Jacob, he realized in his heart that all the dreams of his own heart and of his ancestors, they're real. They're going to happen. They're going to come true. And he woke up, as we would do. When we made a decision to join the seminary, we woke up and we told people, as soon you won't see me, I'm going. What happened to him because of his God experience, the same what happens to us. I'm not scared anymore because someone bigger than me is on my side, coloring my vision and giving life to my hope and changing my way of looking. Someone is there. Everything suddenly is sacred. The old Epicurean division of the material and the spiritual is gone. Flowers and mountains and rivers. There is a sacredness. I'm not speaking pantheism. Maybe some of the scholars will call it panentheism. God is in all things are not God. But there is that sense of the sacred. I'm surrounded by sacredness. Our way of looking has not helped us in this case because we are part of a destruction of the earth which is not of God's plan. Because we have lost our sense of the sacred in all things, in all people. Everything now is a medium for prayer. I don't have to be in a so-called holy place. My way of looking is different. That stone, which was just a piece of rock, suddenly becomes an altar. The same stone on which Jacob slept is now the altar. There is sacredness and spiritual aura in everything and everyone. And Jacob wakes up and sets out on his journey with a new way of looking. Father Thomas challenged us to hear the question to Moses, what's in your hand? Any question coming from God has to challenge us. I offer you another one. The one that God asked to Adam in the garden. Where are you? On your journey, how strong is your vision? How exciting is your progress? Tell me about your relationships with the people in your parish. Where are you in relation to wealth, pleasure, money, power, honor, dignity, pastoral care? Where are you on your pilgrimage? Are you driven by hope or by a lesser vision. Where are you? On that personal journey, which is the other side of the coin to your ministry journey. Where are you on that journey? I like to describe it in terms of a great big capital U. A way of understanding where we are, because our life unfolds in circles, not a straight line. The spiritual life never goes in a straight line. Jewish history is not written in a straight line. For the Jew, truth lay in the reality that what they're seeing now is a repeat of something which was there before. The types of Jesus, the types that went before him. He's a new Moses on a new mountain. And that's how they knew Jesus was real, because they remembered Moses. And if it's repeating in their cyclic history, it must be true. For us, it must be brand new. I think the Jews got it better. Our life, our pilgrimage, our vision will unfold cyclically, again and again. In the beginning, stage one, there are 3 steps to this unfolding journey. Stage one is, think of when you joined the seminary, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the wonder, the mystery. I asked so many people to play football with. So nice. It's great to be full of togetherness. Or people getting married, they have their honeymoon. There's an excitement. There's what teenagers today will call enthu. We old people call it enthusiasm, the full word. But the slang of our youth is enthu. But we had it, we experienced it, we were aware of it, and everything was rosy in the garden, of course, like honeymoons, but they only last 7 years. The wise people will tell us, wait, just you wait. And we know inevitably we're going to come to stage 2. The boredom, the disillusionment, the awareness that I'm not everything I thought I was, the sadness, the mistakes, the need to be corrected, the boredom, the fed-upness. These are part of our pilgrimage. And the problem is not that we will reach stage 2. The problem is, and the danger is, that we might stay there. We shouldn't be upset that we have come to stage 2. But we shouldn't lose hope. Don't allow the eyes to be clouded by sadness and disappointment. Hang in there, whether you're in a parish, or opening a school, or teaching a class, or conducting a seminar, or walking from village to village, and you're tired, and it's mucky, and it's raining. Hang in there. Our Jewish ancestors knew it by heart. When they hung in, they always got to stage 3, which is a new wisdom, a new awareness, a new excitement, a certain measure of delight in being that little bit more mature, able to cope with setbacks and disappointments. A new wisdom, a new calm entering into the picture. And I say, oh wow, it was worth it. I have arrived. I would say yes and no. Yes, you have arrived at stage 3, which is a new level of wisdom. But in the way that things unfold, Number 3 will become another number 1, and the cycle will start all over again. All over again. And that will be the very convincing sign that I'm on the right path. If everything is rosy forever, I'm in the wrong world. I don't grow. Only suffering will make me grow. Our Jewish ancestors knew it so well that they celebrated it as a mystery. And our church picked up the idea of the mystery and called it the Paschal Mystery, which you and I celebrate every year. Stage 1 is Holy Thursday. Stage 2, of course, is Good Friday. And stage 3 is the Vigil, the Easter Vigil. It's central to our ministry, it's central to our faith, and it's central to the meaning that pulls me onwards and upwards. Even if the up is on the hill of Calvary, it's up. And I know, as sure as my ancestors told me, that there will be an Easter Sunday. They even put it into their liturgy when they wrapped it up in 3 Psalms. For them they came together. For us also they come together, but we have numbers for them, which our ancestors didn't have. We call them Psalm 21, 22, and 23. They always went together for the Jews. And they celebrated the kingship, God's choice of people. They celebrated the pain, the struggle, the exile, and they celebrated the return, which we celebrate in our Easter. That drama of the Paschal mystery, or the big U, from 1 to 2 to 3, it's not only for us Christians, not even only for Jews. It's a worldwide phenomenon, but people don't always look at it the way we do. They look in a different way. And they commit suicide at stage 2 because they don't know there's going to be a 3. But those who realize the full unfolding of the mystery that we call Paschal, they've turned it into books, they've turned it into movies. I invite you very, very quickly into a movie, but not the full movie, we don't have time, but the opening scene, which captures beautifully. It's a movie about the life of Christ, but it's not called a Christian name. It's called by a silly name, which you will have read in a little blue book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's a story about a seagull who had a dream of teaching his flock how to fly higher and faster. But to do that, he had to go through the stages. Very briefly, I invite you into the opening few minutes of the movie. Look first at all the waves and the beauty of the sea and the rock and the great majesty of it all. What's happening there in the movie? Every one of us has a Jonathan Seagull in the heart, and we're simply invited to be aware. Stage 1 is the beauty of cloud and sea and wave and rock. We're in the transition to stage 2. Watch what happens when we draw near to the fishing boat. If the seagull was there in the fight, he must have said to himself, there has to be more, something to hope for, live for.
Sky where the clouds are hung for the poet's eye. become the stone which begat the spark, turned to living bone. Holy, holy, Santo, Santo, there's a page that aches for a word which speaks out of being that is timeless, and the one God will make for your day. See, there's a song in search of a voice that is silent, and the one God will make for your way.
The beauty, the food fight, and the practice to follow a dream, and the crash, another number one. It's part of the seagull's life, according to the movie, according to the book, but it's part of our life because we can see in our very own selves the same stages. The enthusiasm when you began your studies, began a course, began an adventure, began a pilgrimage, went somewhere to a new parish, a new responsibility. All that would have been for you a Psalm 21. There's no need for us to read it now, just to bring back to your mind some of the lines in Psalm 21 where Yahweh is king and rejoices. Then you can move on and you'll see in your lives stage 2. The brokenness and the mistakes and the weakness and the failure which Jesus saw, because in Psalm 22, which he quoted on the cross, he said, my God, why? How many times we ask why on our pilgrimage of hope? We still have to stop and say why. Why is there rain when I want to sit and rest? And you will see that that is your Psalm 22. My God, if you keep reading Psalm 22, it ends up on a note of hope, which leads us into Psalm 23, which is the third stage. For the seagull, it was practicing alone to fulfill a dream. For us, it is coming to a new level of wisdom when we wake up and find that my suffering was worthwhile. My God, why? But there is an answer. I have not forgotten you. I have not abandoned you. I'm there. Only you don't see. Open your eyes to see in a new way. And that will take us into Psalm 23, a lovely psalm of the shepherd. And we find ourselves repeating what the Good Shepherd did way back in that psalm long ago. And we can tell the world, as John did, when he was a wise pastor, he told the world what we have seen, what we have heard. It's all about seeing. It has touched my heart. I've made it mine. I want to tell you. And that's the type of looking that we're invited into. I want to conclude by bringing back to mind what Jacob said when he summed up his experience. There was no one to tell it to because he was alone, but he talked to himself and he said, wow, truly Yahweh was here, not there, here, and I never knew. Now I know. Thank you. Just one more slide to sum it up. A prayer that each one of us will be a little bit like Bartimaeus. When Jesus says, what would you like me to do for you in your parish, in your presbytery, among your people, in your responsibility? And then our answer, we cannot improve on Bartimaeus. Let me see again, so that I can really look forward, really with hope. Thank you again for your company. The synopsis is here for anybody who wishes. Anybody wants the PowerPoint, I will give a copy to Father Tabor.
Thank you, Father Kevin. He really took us on a journey, a soul-searching reflection. Around 10-15 minutes back, I wrote this one, please try to conclude in 3-5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes. But I did not give him because listening to him, I don't think there is not so many things to ask questions. It is more of a reflection. It's like a mini recollection, mini retreat. And of course, if there are some who says, if I don't ask this question, I may not be able to take lunch, or I may not have a good sleep. For such kind of questions, one or two, perhaps we will open. Then, okay, the first question. So we'll just open just few minutes, few questions.
It's not a question, it's only to compliment. The last episode, Kevin referred to the question of Bartimaeus. I think it also represents the 3 stages. Because his response to Jesus is that, not let me see, but let me see again. Because Bartimaeus was not born blind. There was a time when he could see. Second stage is when he could not see. The third is when he saw as a result of Jesus' intervention or God's intervention. And I think that is also a narrative of every believer or every Christian. There was a beautiful time in my life when I joined the seminary, when I could see. But somewhere along, I became blind due to various reasons. I lost sight. And third, when God intervenes, I begin to see.
What a beautiful comment, very insightful. Has Father given you any hope for more questions? Please, we still have time. 5 minutes.
Every religious congregation studies thoroughly the founder. We ceremoniously come together on the 4th of August for a celebration. Have we really studied the life and mission of St. John Vianney? Can this be part of another assembly? A deep, objective study, reflection on St. John Vianney, so that we know who he is. We are supposed to be imitating him. No? How can we imitate somebody about whom we do not know? A suggestion for the executive.
I think we are filled with his messages, so no much questions. The words of Saint Augustine, late have I loved you, beauty so old and yet so new. So Father Kevin, the beauty, the wisdom is so old and yet ever new. I would like to give word of thanks, but there is somebody else who is supposed to give the word of thanks. So I hand over the time to the executive. Thank you.
Not to contradict Father Manjali, 20 years ago when I was the vocation promoter of the Archdiocese of Shillong, so many boys want to join the seminary during vocation camp. That time Father Albinus Yofnia was alive. And I said, maybe since so many are coming, let us ask all men to go and talk, so few people would join the seminary. When he went, more joined. Then I asked him, Pae, grandfather, what did you say? He said, I told the truth. What is the truth? For us, the association founded by Jesus, other congregation founded by men. So more people join the seminary. So now I invite Father Cosmos, the priest from the Diocese of Nongstoin, to propose a word of thanks. Father Cosmos is a parish priest of Umdang Parish, and he holds so many portfolios in the diocese. Welcome, Father Cosmos.
Your Excellencies, Archbishops, Bishops, Fathers, this morning we are very privileged to have with us dear Father Kevin, who have shared his invaluable insights and expertise on a vision that gives meaning to our hearts. Hope and vision always go together, as he has said. They are like two sides of the same coin. where are you in relation to your personal ministry? Has been an eye-opener to very many of us who are in the pastoral ministries. He has also written and explained to us the 3 stages. The end to time of dream and hopes. Then on the stage 2, the frustration, the willingness, and then frustration. And the stage 3, the recovery, peace, calm. Dear Father, your presentation this morning really was very informative, engaging, and thought-provoking. We really appreciate you, and it must have been very much, you must have taken time really to prepare, and you have really meticulously prepared, and that's why you have delivered so well this morning. May God bless you, dear Father. Let us give the round of applause to appreciate our dear Father Kevin. Thank you so much, dear Father. And this time I am very much privileged to extend also my heartfelt gratitude to my colleague, classmate, Father Caleb Laudong Sana. Indeed, our father earlier has told that he was ordained in 2005. Actually, he was ordained in 2006, just one day earlier to me. So thank you, Father Caleb Laudong Sana, for moderating this morning.